Time is just gone 9:43 a.m. and we know we are running a bit late on schedule, but unfortunately, this is how it is to be. But we are now going across to be joined by Dr. Faisal Suliman talking about retail resistance, and this is an urgent call made by the South African Palestine movement to store managers to boycott in solidarity with Palestine. Dr. Faisal, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jummah Mubarak to you and welcome.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And Jazakallah, Jummah Mubarak to you, and a pre-Ramadan and Eid, not Ramadan, and Eid Mubarak to everyone.
Certainly. Faisal, I think this is very, very important in terms of what we are talking about in terms of retail resistance. And until now, we've seen so many calls with regard to boycotts, and particularly aimed mainly at consumers of these products, of companies that support this Zionist state of Israel, companies like Clover, companies like Coca-Cola, and many other companies, but a lot of it is directed to consumers. But we're talking now about retail resistance, and this is absolutely important. This is critical because these are people who actually stock these products.
Absolutely. I think it's the whole value chain that we need to look at. Eventually, when it comes to a company like Clover, even encouraging, our businessmen to be looking at, the production and obviously with production and farming, dairy farming, etc., to move away and get our own production of milk and milk products going as an alternative to, just as an example, to Clover.
Well, definitely. And also, I think what is important now is looking at the statement that has been issued by South African Palestine movement. And this is now directly addressed to store owners. It is directly addressed to managers as well. Civil society organizations, human rights advocacy, activists right across the spectrum are concerned about this aspect of the value chain, and this is a message that needs to be that is so profound, that is so powerful, and this is a message that needs to go through to the retailers. Now, I know we've got many bodies, we've got many organizations that are obviously linked to many of these companies, these businesses as well, and I think it is now an opportunity to start a campaign of a very, very different sort.
Oh, absolutely. Often people ask, what's the use? It's just one soft drink. In this case, because we're calling for it, Coke, example, or one can of cheese or whatever. If people know how much money, I mean, one of the conditions that the Israel is crazy about. They've gone to extraordinary lengths all over the world to try and get PDS banned. To try and undo the boycott movement. And so why would they do that if they weren't afraid? If they weren't, I think they understand the impact of a global boycott, even, and the dangers of it for Israel or for Zionism, even greater than we do. And therefore, they spend billions on marketing, on legislation to get BDS banned in the States and everywhere else. So if it wasn't going to be impactful, why would they bother? So I think that in itself should be a motivation, should be a wake-up call to all of us to say it is a powerful. Do not underestimate the value. It's not just the actual it's brand value. It's the mentality. It's the consciousness. So people only think about not people. Sometimes one only thinks, okay, I'm not having a Coke. No, it's the consciousness on your dinner table. It's the consciousness at your function. It's the awareness because it brings up a subject. Now you're at a wedding and there's no Coke, for example, or someone who caters, who does catering, and is now no more using Clover to make the kheeraj and whatever else they put, for example, milk and cheese products. The consciousness that comes with it, the awareness that young people have. So it's not just the product. It's such a broad thing, but this is something that's easier, non-violent, not against the law, and relatively easy to do.
Yes, but also Faisal, by now I think many people are fully aware of the companies. Many people are fully aware of the products that we are talking about, and also I'm sure that there is a lot of information out there in terms of ethical alternative products that are on offer, and this statement talks about it, saying that there is no shortage, providing people, providing shop owners, providing store owners with what these alternatives are. But for some reason or the other, it is still very disturbing to note that when one walks into many of these stores, and particularly looking at even Muslim owned stores as well, where we still find that a lot of these products are still on the shelves.
Yeah, and um, an activist mindset, we've lost it. I mean, let me give you an example, and I think everyone sees this. The weirdest thing is people post this on WhatsApp groups, etc., and you'll see these videos of in Ireland people are protesting at the stores, or even for the present Gaza, and just in terms of the broader BDS movement. People in Ireland would go into a store and block the queues, take out all of the Israeli-made products and put it in their shelves, and then refuse to pay for it. And four people would go and block the store and block the queues and raise awareness, right? And we're not doing it in South Africa. And the question is, it relates to what you're saying, whether it's the consumers, whether it's the store owners, whether, okay, production level is maybe, the longer, bigger step. But at those two levels of the value chain, why aren't we doing it? Well, I mean, we sometimes we cry the inaction of the Arab government, and inaction is an understatement for them. The betrayal, etc., of the Arab government, sometimes not the Arab populations because they are all under dictatorships, but at our level, we're doing nothing. The Zionists in this country send money, they send children, they send medical, they do everything to support the not virtual, the genocide, the massacre, the starvation of people right now. And look at their lives. We've made no impact to make them feel uncomfortable, whether it's guilt, whether it's, if it was the reverse, we'd be hiding our faces. I'm going to use a simple example, and we all can relate to it, is when this bus drive, some car owner drove, the football club had a parade in Liverpool, right? And you had a guy, and I think every guy who watched it or who read about, first thing was, gosh, I hope he's not a Muslim. Because then the entire Muslim community in UK would have been had to be hiding if it turned out to a Muslim who took a car and ran through a whole lot of people who are at the parade, right? And similarly, it happens when a bomb or something like that. And yet, if you think about it, what have we done to make these Zionists in our country uncomfortable? Absolutely nothing, not even at the store level. So yes, it's a deeper question as to what is the cause, or why are we so passive? Why are we so afraid, etc., to go out and a simple thing like, as you say, why do we still see Muslim people? And I don't know, and maybe we should. There's certain grouping, or call it, Muslim community that openly till today still goes to Zara, still goes to Cape Union Mart and buys KO jackets, right? And you have to ask yourself, I mean, why? Why possibly would you do this? Women in niqab all the time in Zara. So, what have we lost as a community in terms of our activism? Have we, to be honest, have we just been too passive and asked ourselves that dua and money is enough? Dua for money, for not even for arms, money for relief, and dua. That's the sum total of our support. Because that's honestly what it has come down to.
Well, certainly, but also I think looking at this press statement, and I see that there are a whole host of supporting organization covering a broad spectrum of Palestinian resistance in this country. And again, just to take this initiative forward, when we're talking about retail resistance, to take this initiative forward, and again impress on particularly on store owners, on people who are actually selling these products at a retail or even possibly at a wholesale level as well. What can be done, because the education is there, but also in terms of providing them with that added support. so that we can, over a period of time, these products can actually be phased off the shelves of retail outlets?
The influences in our community, in I have to drive this. And when I say the influences, I include in there mainly the people who are in charge of the public discourse, and that means the ulama, people who go onto radio, give big night lectures, who are doing shows on radios, like stations like yours. That it has to be driven from there. Clearly, if I want to call it the secular NPO, civil society organizations who will do this. And I think something like this needs to be printed out and put in the masjid. 4 or 5 products that are commonly known. And the other question is which one? It's impossible to sustain. If you can, alhamdulillah. But a BDS is not a one-week campaign. It has to be sustained. It has to be consistent. And it's impossible practically to do this with 50 products. But you make an example of 5. And I'm not shy to name the 5 that have been identified. The one would be Coca-Cola, those with the code for Israel, the ZZ2, the Clover products, Kiva medical products, which is an Israeli-owned company, Clover is an Israeli-owned company, Cape Union Mart, and any of the stores affiliated with those KW jackets, etc., that seem to be so popular in certain Muslim quarters, in particular. Those, 4 or 5 to sustain are not difficult. But it needs consistent message. It needs a consistent message from our community at all levels. I mean, we have Idgahs coming up tomorrow. I mean, can you imagine 2 minutes of the Idgah? I mean, this is sacrifice, right? What are we talking about? We are tomorrow, when we slaughter, or those who are doing it today in other parts of the world, the entire thing we're doing, our Qurbani is about sacrifice. It's about what Hazrat Ibrahim was prepared to do and what we are prepared to do symbolically. Well, 5 minutes in every Idgah dedicated to saying the other sacrifice you make is about these 5 products. Literally 5 minutes in a khutbah. That is power. That is activism. But it needs, the influences in our community, even the social media influences, all over, and they are, men and women are very, in other respects, not to be shy, not to be afraid, and commit to this project, so that everyone has someone who owns a garage, a filling station, a supermarket, a store that stocks this product and say, come, start moving away. Yes, your customers may want it, but start giving alternatives. Start putting other alternatives on specials. You may lose a bit of profit, but they may realize, okay, let's buy this one, even if it's not for political reasons, for economic reasons. There are other ways other than, saying, okay, but no, my customers, I got non-Muslim customers, they don't know anything. Just want, they just want this particular Coke product or Clover product. And let's be smart and creative. People were very creative during apartheid to overcome those laws, etc. We can be creative now as well, putting other products on the front of the shelf. Those, there are ways. Yes, you may sacrifice short-term turnover, you may sacrifice short-term profit, but it's towards a bigger cause, and Allah will reward you. And you'll have barakat in other ways.
Well, inshallah, I mean, Jazakallah, and I'm sure, Faisal, we need to obviously continue with this. Unfortunately, time has run out, but inshallah, we will definitely pursue this communication that has gone out as well. And, we will obviously engage with the various parties as well. And let's just see how we can actually take this campaign forward. But for now, Jazakallah for your time. Have yourself a wonderful Jummah and also a wonderful Eid, inshallah, tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Jazakallah khair, Jummah Mubarak, and of course Eid Mubarak to everyone at Salam Media and of course the listeners and viewers. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Retail Resistance was Dr. Faisal Suliman, SAMNET's chairperson this morning. And next up, we'll still be joined by journalist and researcher at the Media Review Network, Mariam Juma Karichi. We're talking Morocco, we're talking Western Sahara.